Hello everybody, this is Reggie Time from Reggie Time Poker, and I'm making my first video in approximately a month to hopefully help you guys with your game. I haven't made a video in a while because I've been focusing on getting through some of the excess coaching work I built up for myself, whilst also moving into the world of Twitch, which I've had some semi-decent success at. We're starting to build a nice channel if you want to check it out on twitch.tv, Reggie Time Poker. We're trying to build a really friendly, recreational friendly player stream. The stream is very much aimed at players who want to have fun with poker and don't necessarily want poker to be just an exercise in mathematics and game theory. It's a very light-hearted stream. We do a lot of fun things on there. We have some chats. You take music requests, and we just try to take poker seriously as serious recreational players, but not so seriously that it stops being fun, which is kind of a direction that I'm wanting to take all of my poker interests in. I've always made videos that are aimed at micro stakes and nano stakes players, but now we're making that one step further, and we're going to be making videos that are aimed at those players, but also just keep them to the not excessively math and game theory orientated. It's just going to be a lot of thinking about things the way that you should be thinking about things when you're playing, if you just want poker to be a fun hobby that you make some money from without turning it into something incredibly serious like lots of players do. There's nothing wrong if you want to take poker incredibly seriously. I have absolutely no issue with anybody wanting to do that. I think it's a fine option for lots of people. But there are lots of people out there who just want to get okay at poker without it turning into some kind of major obsession. I like to think that's an area that I can help out in. So here we're just going to check with the nines. We may be calling a bet. We're certainly going to call this bet, but we're not going to call that raise. So now we're just going to fold and assume that we're beat. The 8-7, we have no equity here. It's not the worst board in the world to c-bet, but if we do c-bet and we get called, we just have so little chance of picking the pot up. So we're just going to give up now, rather than, if we're in position and he checked, then betting would be entirely appropriate. But when we're out of position, so we don't know how the player's responding to how the player's going to respond to the board or our bets, in my opinion, it's best just to take a cautious approach and just manage pots. Out of position is not a lot of fun playing poker out of position. It's hard to make a lot of money when we miss and we're out of position, so there's nothing too bad about just trying to keep the size of the pot small and just wait for some better opportunities to apply pressure to our opponents. I'm starting to make videos again because I am just starting to clear the amount of work that I made for myself. I didn't make too much work for myself. I'm not complaining, this isn't a complaint. And at one point we got up to like 25 students in my student group, and I didn't have time to play poker anymore. I just didn't have time. I was spending most of my time making a few videos, doing lots and lots of sweat sessions and some other things, and my grind went down to around, who knows what, maybe 50 hours per month. So I thought we're going to clear a lot of the work out that I've got first, excuse me, honour the commitments I'd made, and made sure that I treated the people who'd hired me very fairly to really to be as flexible as I could with them. And I've done that now, and we've now got 20 odd people in the group, but most of those people are coming to the end of the time with me. So I think it's just about time that I tried to just pick up a couple of new faces. So hopefully we're going to start having some more time now to make videos, to engage with people again on the forums, and hopefully make some new friends. We've been check raised here. We do have a pretty decent hand. We have like a good short backdoor flush draw. When we get check raised here, then we're probably not getting anywhere near the correct odds to call. I think we're just going to fold our hand here with the set. Very easy c-bet. If we get called, we can probably get 3 streets of value, I would imagine, from ace-x. There's almost no chance we're behind here. And there's a very good chance we can just get 3 streets from ace-10, ace-jack, ace-queen, queen-king. I'm not going to race here. I mean, if a 10, jack, king or club comes, it's going to make life uncomfortable for us. But maybe we could raise actually. Maybe we just make a small raise, just to get some extra value from his draws. His any 2 pairs he's got before the river gets too scary. So perhaps we can just make a small raise here. Because again, I just think it's almost impossible for us to be behind right now. But there are some cards on the river that may, and that's a complete brick, so we're happy with that river card. But had a club, a jack, a 10, a king come, which is quite a lot of cards, probably wouldn't have been great for us. And now I'm just going to make a small value bet and just try and get called by his 1 pair type hands. I think a lot of the time he's going to have a draw when he takes his line, but I mean, he called the flop with something, so a draw's not always just part of his range. He does have some 2 pair type stuff as well. We could have contemplated shoving there, but I just wanted to get the call really. And the actual how we could have got a lot more money. We could have got a lot more money there, but against his range I think we've done pretty well there. Just please be aware, if you are watching this video and you're already a winning player at 25 and L upwards, this really is not aimed at you. My videos, my work is all aimed at players playing 2 and L through 10 and L, and maybe some long-term losing players at 25 and L. My videos are aimed at people who want to come at poker from more of a social aspect. If you are a nanostates grinder who wants to really push on and create an income stream from poker, I can certainly help you on your way too. But my videos are not aimed, if you are currently playing 25 and L or higher and making money, you're not going to get anything from watching my videos. Apart from angry maybe, because I do break things down and do try and keep things incredibly simple. I play an incredibly simple style, I play an incredibly tight style, I coach a tight style, because I believe that's the first step to becoming a winning poker player, is learning to play tightly, which is a step that I feel lots and lots and lots of players miss these days. Because when you go on the forums, and people are absolutely right to say this, it's right to play, a tight, aggressive style of poker. But people's version of tight, aggressive these days is still probably too loose for lots of new players. So I coach and teach people to play a style of between 16 to 18 VPIP, between 12 to 16 PFR, and just really I see it as my role is to just turn people into winning players, turn them into players that they can then go away and build on whatever they want to, however they want to build it. They can just carry on from where I left off with them and just make their 6 bigs 100 at 25 and L and be happy with that. or they give me in a position to go and find a more advanced coach than me, move on and just become a super crusher. I've had players that have come through me and they've reached 25 and they've been happy just staying at 25 and and just making the money week in, week out. I mean, happy picking up their $100 a week and monetising a hobby. And then I've had some other players, mostly what's his screen name? Can't even his screen name. Limitless, I think it is, on 888, who's started with me last October time, maybe a little bit earlier than that, maybe August, at 10NL, and who I'm now literally taking shots at 1KNL. I can't take all the credit for that, of course, but what I did do is by his own admission, I was the guy who put him on the right path with poker. So it can be whatever you want it to be. It really can be. I've seen lots of players come to me with various goals and have helped them achieve them. So, yep. Do I coach a tight, not particularly creative style? Yes, I do. Unashamedly do. Is that for everyone? Of course not. Is that for anyone who's currently playing 2NL through 10NL and breaking even or worse? Absolutely, it's the right way for you to start. There's no better way to get started than just to learn to play tightly, get used to being a winning player. Winning becomes a habit, and then from there, going and just creating your own poker story, basically. Hope you like the new layout for the videos. I'm also using a different recording system, so I don't know exactly how clear the video quality is going to be on YouTube. I'm hoping it's going to be as crystal clear as my previous videos when I used Camtasia, but I'm actually using OBS today because I can have my Twitch poker layout over it, which is, again, quite basic, but I think quite nice. So I'm playing the style today that I try and coach into players. If I'm playing on my own, I will probably play a little bit looser than this. Not a lot looser though, just a little bit looser. But I'm playing the ranges that I try and help players with in the first place. If people want to see those ranges, please do ask, and we can include them in the next video for sure. We can do some. I can just bring some Equilab stuff up and show you the ranges that I use to start with new players. It's 2/8 here. It's close. We have quite a close spot. If he has 2 overcard, I mean, here we're either a coin flip or underdog most of the time. Are we getting compensated enough of the times for a coin flip? Probably not. I think we had 10s here. I think we'd have a much easier call. I think 8s, particularly we've got a player behind us who might have 9s and just flick it in 2. I think we're just going to fold. But yeah, I don't think calling would have been the worst play in the world there, but I think folding is just a little bit better. The call is 37 bet. I mean, there's a good chance we have the best hand here with the ace king, and he just has 2 4s, which is unfortunate. We may have been able to make him 4 2 4s there had we taken a more aggressive line, but I'm not really one for advocating people starting to bluff with ace king post flop in passive games. Don't really think it's a particularly good strategy, because ace king has enough showdown value where we don't always need to bluff. Eventually, when you start getting a little bit better at poker, we can start thinking and talking about when to bet just to try and collect some dead money, when how to create dead money pre-flop and collect it post-flop. But for beginning players, there's just no reason to be getting massively into that. It's just my way of coaching is to encourage people to just bet for value mostly, bluff very infrequently, and rarely bluff out of position, because we can just get ourselves in some messes. If we start bluffing out of position too often, we can start getting into lots of messes, ending up building big pots with weak hands and not really knowing how to proceed with them. Obviously we're going to call this 3-bet out of position because it was a min 3-bet and we're just going to fold now. We've completely bricked. going to squeeze here. We're going to squeeze quite big because it's microstakes. The people have a hand they want to play, they have a hand they want to play. Whether we make this $3.30 or $4, I don't think it makes a huge difference to people's ranges. Just the act we put the squeeze in is enough to show strength. Once we're showing this kind of strength, I don't necessarily think we mask our hand by making that 10 blinds there rather than 13 blinds. People might call a little bit more just because they're getting a slightly better price, but if they've got a hand like 2 jacks, 2 tens, ace queen, ace king, they're not going to fold it. If they're going to call 3, they're usually going to call 4 too. Pretty damn good flop for our aces, and we're going to try and set mine here with our 3s. We do hit a set. So we're not going to get much action with our set though, unfortunately. So it looks like no one's got a hand, so I'm not going to make a small bet just to try and get a call from a weak range. I'm actually going to try and build a pot here. We could bet like 180 there or something, just to try and get some crying calls from pocket 10s, etc. Pocket 9s, that type of thing. But I don't really want to be looking at targeting that part of range. I don't want to be targeting flush draws and people who are like playing a king X passively. Someone's got 2 10s, we're not going to get multiple streets of value anyway, so I'm going to be certainly targeting flush draws and like weakish kings there. That's more the kind of thing I want to go after. And if they don't have them hands, we just win a small pot and we move on. We dumped into here. We're going to raise this bet if KDH doesn't raise. If KDH raises, it makes life a little bit difficult for us. When he calls, we're going to raise here. We're going to stack off against Gadge. We're not going to stack off against KDH. We're going to raise to $5. Against Gadge, we're absolutely stacking off. But KDH could just be slow playing a set of 2s or a set of 3s very, very easily here. So if KDH does now come on ahead and raise again, I would fold and I would have no problem with that. And now we're just going to flick the rest of the money in, and we're going to hope that he doesn't have like the Jack 8 or something like that. And he just has the Ace Jack and we pick up a nice pot. Now we have an issue here, which is something that I've been talking about on stream quite a lot lately, which is if you are a losing or break-even player. I'm going to see about our king high is checked. I mean, probably if he calls, we're not going to double or triple barrel off here, but if we just have him fold some ace highs here, some who knows what, just any part of his equity share, that's fine. But once he calls, that's it. We're not going to continue bluffing. 3 bet for value here against Queen King, and I will get back to the point I want to make in a moment. It's a question I get asked quite a bit. Something we've talked about quite a lot is the issue of rat holing, which is when you get your stack to a significantly higher amount than it was when you bought in. If you have a big edge in the games you play in, then obviously it's a ridiculous thing to do. It's a silly thing to do. But if right now you are not a high win rate winning player and you are not experienced or confident in playing deep stacked poker, in my opinion there is no shame in just doing this. And it's not something I do very often, but it's something that I'm just going to do on the video now just to demonstrate that what I mean by rat holing. You sit out your next big blind. We've got a $50 stack here, so we're at what, 150, 160 odd big blinds deep. There's nothing wrong with just joining a new game, closing this table, and bringing a new table in. So you're just back to playing 100 blinds, and now it's over here, pocket tens. There's no shame in that. If you have no edge, and we'll do it again at this table just to demonstrate the point I'm making. If you feel your edge is, let's say for example, you're a 1 or 2 big blind 100 winner at the moment, and you don't feel confident playing 200 blinds deep, there is absolutely no shame in that. Get 250 big blinds and just start again. Then we bring the other table up, the first table up, and we just close it and we move on. There's no shame in that, and I will probably get some criticism for this. There really isn't. If you're not, I mean, it's poker's hard enough. If you start adding complications in, playing 150, 200 blinds deep when you're not that confident yet of playing 100 blinds deep, why make life difficult for yourself? Why make it more difficult than it needs to be? Another thing, your ace king is not a mandatory 3-bet. Of course, it's a fine hand to 3-bet. But if you constantly find yourself in problems by 3-betting ace king, missing, not knowing how to proceed, don't feel you have to 3-bet it. There's not obviously meaning for most people it's a really easy mandatory 3-bet. But also for a lot of people, it's a difficult hand to play. They give themselves problems, they 3-bet it out of position, they miss, and they don't know how to proceed. So fine, go ahead, study some videos. There's lots of content out there for when we're missing 3-bet pots. Go ahead, study them videos, ask questions on forums, and develop a strategy for it before you start putting yourself in the situation. There's no sense putting yourself in situations that you're not prepared for. So there really is no shame in just keeping yourself out of trouble, and then when you do find spots that you're not confident in, that's when you go ahead, you've identified a knowledge gap in your game, you go ahead and you try and fill that knowledge gap. That's, in my opinion, the best way to play it. Rather than just, I need to 3-bet here, I've got ace king, books ace 3-bets, I'm a 3-bet, oh fuck, I've missed, now what do I do? What's essentially continually putting yourself in those situations. Be preemptive with the problems and think, well, this is going to be a problem for me, so I'm actually going to study this problem first. And just try and understand why it's a problem, why I find it difficult, and etc. And as you saw there, I just folded pocket fives middle position. That is absolutely what I coach people to do. I coach people to play really tightly in the first 2 seats, like a 10% VPIP EP, a 12% VPIP MP. There's just no reason to be putting yourself in too many spots out of position until you've got your post-flop game in much better shape. There's all the things you won't see on forums very often. You won't see on many training videos because everyone's rightly focused on in trying to help winning players become even bigger winning players and push smaller and smaller edges. If you keep pushing lots and lots of small edges, you build your win rate. Problem with small edges is they're very difficult to get, and if you are a beginning player, you don't need to be playing pocket fives in middle position. You want to achieve a standard in your game where eventually that's completely fine for you and profitable. Well, for many players, particularly new inexperienced players, playing small pairs in early position is just not a profitable thing for them to do. So we're going to tackle some of the next few videos. We're going to be tackling some of the things that are classed as standard when you talk to people on poker forums that actually, in my opinion, don't need to be standard for losing on new players. They can be standards we strive to achieve, but we don't need to be, it's not something we need to be doing right now in our game. I'm just going to check back these 2 tens. Not much chance we win the pot. We obviously had some draws, we had some pairs that he may have called with, but most of the time he's just going to have a queen or a king that he's too scared to bet on this board. He did, he had a queen. That's fine. Because since I've started doing the stream, lots and lots of players have been, when they've seen some of the things some of the hands I've folded, because I'm a tight player by myself, and Now they've been like, oh, LOL, can't believe you folded this hand here. But we've actually talked about it, and I've explained why I've folded it. It's because for whatever reason, I don't know, I've folded pocket twos under the gun, and I'll just be quite candid with it. I don't particularly enjoy raising pocket pairs under the gun, and most of the time just check folding when I miss, for example, because that's what else can you do when you raise twos under the gun? The ball comes down king 8-9 two-tone. What can you do? Just check fold a lot. I openly admit it's a hand of struggle to make money with, so don't play it. And when we talk about that with people, and we ask about some of the hands, why are you playing this hand from this position? And they say, oh, it's just standard, it balances my under the gun range, etc, etc. Yeah, all those things may be true, but do we really need to have a balanced under the gun range at 30 L, or 25 L, or 10 L? Particularly in games on 888 where people don't have HUD stats on us, so they'd have no idea if we're opening twos or not under the gun. Do we need to do all these things? And quite a lot of the time the discussion gets round to, well, actually no, we probably don't. Yeah, teaching people to be a nit, it's not going to go down well in the poker community. But I think teaching new and losing players to be a nit is absolutely the right way to go. And then I don't mean nit in that, but I am a nit myself, so I don't mean, I'm not using a nit in a derogatory term like it's often used on the forums. I think learning to be a nit first and foremost at poker is an important first part of the learning curve. We can't just come in and all just be 25/20 with a 9% 3-bet players. If you try and do that from the off, you're going to get slaughtered. You're going to get absolutely slaughtered by people who've been doing it a lot longer than you and who are a lot better at doing it than you are. Of course, that can be something you can strive to achieve, but it's not something you need to be doing straight away. And that's kind of where my coaching comes from. It's not for everyone, but it is for plenty of people. This is not a mandatory 4-bet here. If all the money goes in here, we better hope Trips Asmussen is either a really, really poor player, or he's got 2 queens, and then we're flipping. I don't know anything about Trips Asmussen, but we're just going to call here and see how we proceed post-flop from here. And he absolutely bombs C-bets. It's just very, very likely he's got a very strong hand. I'm just going to raise king 8 suited in when I'm playing. It's a standard raise from the small blind. It's not something you have to be doing, so I'm going to fold it just to demonstrate that it's okay to fold it. You absolutely don't have to be doing it. You want to eventually be opening that hand, but you don't want to be opening it until you're confident, until you're capable of playing it confidently post flop. And my note on Garcia is probable maniac. Even though he's probable maniac, I still think pocket sixes. We're going to be in too many weird flip situations with him and what have you there. He's not going to fall to our 4-bet, so do we really want to flip for 30 odd blinds with 2 sixes? Not really. We don't need to be taking those situations. We can afford to pass them up. It's not a problem. So we're approaching the half-hour mark now on the recording. Probably not going to go too much longer than this, because I do recall that people weren't. They were happier when I was making videos with 30 to 35 minute videos. So that's what we're going to try and do here. I'm going to call with the queens to keep the limper in the pot. We could easily, queens could be a very, very, very trivial re-raise there. Because obviously, Lucky Spammer's range is way wider. Queens is massively ahead of his range. But at the same time, we want to make sure we're keeping poor players in the pot when we've got strong hands. We don't want to be blasting poor players out of the pot. I'm just going to call with my queens here. If he starts checking, we're going to start betting. If he keeps betting, we're just going to keep calling. That's going to be our plan for the hand. Once he checks, we almost certainly have the best hand. I think 10s can easily be the best hand here too, so we're going to check call. And that's a pretty bad card. If Lucky Spammer makes a large bet here, we are going to fold, because that is not an ideal card. The ace of clubs. It all depends on his bet size here, or if he makes a bet. We're not going to fold this bet. Sorry, we're not going to call this bet. Ian Joe from Australia. We are going to call this bet though, and we're not going to call this one. It's just too likely. I mean, that's unfortunate. We've lost there. So we've lost 2 pots in a row here, which with pairs, which is unfortunate, but we don't want to be paying off too often in these games, and it's just, what do we beat here? If he had an ace-high spade draw, he's just got there. He doesn't have 4-3, so we're not worried about that. If he had a club draw, he's just got there. We just don't beat very much, and a lot of his bluffs, it's like c-bet bluffs on the flop are now there in front of us. So we're just going to fold the queens. And not worry too much. Not paying off is a... Learning to just make disciplined folds in the micro stakes is absolutely a skill you just need to learn, and you need to learn it quickly. If you're calling too many rivers, particularly large bets, you're just going to end up in a lot of pain. You really are. It's just not a nice thing to be doing unless you have a specific read on somebody that they're absolutely bluffing particular spots, or you're just too close to the top of your range to fold. And typically you just want to be, most of the time, folding to aggression in the micros, particularly on rivers when chunky bets are going in. Again, it's not advice everybody wants to hear, but it is solid advice. So I think with that in mind, of the 30 to 35 minute videos, we're just on 32.5 minutes now. And I think we've caught quite a lot in this video. We've discussed a lot of the things that I've wanted to talk about that I haven't really talked about much in other videos in the past, because I've tried to make my videos have a more broad appeal. I'm absolutely now going to be focusing my videos completely on 2NL to 10NL, new and losing players, and just trying to help you guys get your foot on the first rung of the profitable poker ladder, because it's a hard ladder to get on these days, and there's not that much content out there catering to you guys. So hopefully I can help fill that void a little bit, and hope you've enjoyed my first video back for a while. If you have, please do follow me on Twitter for regular updates on when I'm going on stream. Please do follow me on Twitch, because I do stream at least 3 hours per day, sometimes twice per day. And do take a look at my website, www.reggitimepoker.com, which just tells you just a little bit more about me and my coaching rates, etc. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll be making another video very soon. Bye bye for now.